Rehan, the thing is, I mean, it's also, I mean, it's no secret that you're very close to the Rajapaksa sons. You're also a best man at one of their weddings. I mean, you're good friends. You don't call somebody who you just know as a hi bye to be a best man. So I mean, obviously, you are rubbing shoulders with them. So you clearly know what's going on.
Okay, so like I said, I first knew Namal Rajapaksa when I was in grade 1. We were in class all the way up until year 10. And then I left to British school where I met this wonderful drama teacher of mine, Anuruddha sir.
Yes.
But, then after that, what happened was Namal got into politics. And Shaq, I mean, if I could go back in a time machine, like what you see in Back to the Future, I could have gone and changed who I met. But then these are people that I've known since grade 1 to year 10. And I know you know the Sri Lankan school system. You develop some sort of bond during that time in school. But then after that, I mean, it came to a time where we had different opinions when it came to politics. Then I was rather, I not that I distanced myself from Namal, but I just think that with all of what was going on, we kind of went our own ways. And then incidentally, I became very good friends with the younger brother, Chichi, or Rohit Rajapaksa. And Rohit I started hanging out with in 2006. And up until 2015, I'm not going to lie to you, we were actually good friends. And the reason that we continued that friendship was because at that time, I saw him not as a political figure, but I saw him as my friend. And maybe maybe when you look at it in hindsight, maybe there are people who would say that, why were you their friend when you knew that they were doing all this? But then, so like I said, Chichi wasn't the best man at my wedding. But Chichi actually got married to one of my ex-girlfriend's best friends. And I've known Chichi's wife also for a very long time, Tatiana, ever since 2010. And for my wedding, and mind you, this was during the Yahapalne time. This was in 2018 when I got married. Yes, Chichi was one of my groomsmen. He was not my best man. My best man was Uchit. Uchit, if you're listening in, there I said it for all the times that you said that I have different friends. Yeah, you're my best friend. So yeah, so Uchit was my groomsman. I had 9 other groomsmen because my wife had a whole number of friends because she went to Durham. She's actually from England, even though she's a local. So she had a lot of friends who were coming down. So to match that number, I had 9 groomsmen. So Chichi was one of them. And that was not a secret check. That was something that I put on my Blue Tick official Facebook page. Right. And every year, I would send a happy birthday note to Chichi, and I would say Deshapalne Adalamane. But when it's funny, Shaq, because whenever we do meet, I tell him I always used to give it to him straight. I never used to hide things from him. Even when certain things were happening in their own family, I used to say, Chichi, this is wrong. And I'm saying this live now. I have nothing to hide, Shaq, because my life is a very open book. Anyone can read it. Anyone can judge me. But when a lot of people say, how was I their friend? I mean, how can you all of a sudden unfriend people that you've known almost all your life? And this is from a very young age. I was 6. I was 6 years old. Now I'm 36. I was 6 years old when I first met Namal. But that being said, I am against any of them ever coming into politics again. Chichi knows this. One advice that I've always given him as a friend is to never, ever, ever get into politics. That is something I've told him. Not because I think that he's a relatively bad person or a good person, but it's because I think that his family has collectively screwed things up for him. Pardon my language again.
Yeah.
And I think that, they all need to take a break now. They all need to take a break. And they're going to understand the pulse of the people. So that Shaq is my friendship with them. And I hope I explained it well. But that being said, I also want to end it by saying my political ideology is not their political ideology. And Mathura district being the district that it is, I could have easily contested from the SLPP and become number 1 or 2 when 6 came in. Instead, I chose a district where only 2 to 3 people from the UMP came. And I was 3rd last time and I still couldn't get in. And I contested the urban council election also from the UMP. So I think my ideologies are different, and their ideologies are different, and I just try to keep to that. But to be very honest with you, I haven't met Chichi after the 9th of May. I haven't met him. We do speak
Rehan,
somewhat on the phone.
yeah. What I find most surprising is actually, I understand these friendships, how they are formed during school era. I mean, I went to St. Thomas's too, and there are different people from different ideologies, and but what I find most surprising is how you actually manage to even get a word in edgewise, because I mean, what time was it between his degree, his attorneys at law, his PhD? කොයි වෙලාවද කතා කරේ?
So I'm gonna be. This is gonna be a really unpopular thing that I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
but I don't know whether he obtained or how he obtained all of it. But one thing I can tell you is that he definitely 100% studies more than the rest of his counterparts or his brothers. He's actually, whenever you go to see him, he's either reading a book or reading something about space debris, or things that are very hard for me to even understand, and then he'll be given tuition to a little class. So I don't. So I no, I'm not going. I was not there when he did all these exams, but he is relatively smarter than the rest. But I don't know whether I'm not going to throw myself in the deep end by saying that I know how he got all these qualifications, because I honestly don't know. But yeah, he's smarter. He's smarter than the other two, is what I have to say.
Absolutely. I
That's
mean,
why he
I
didn't
do
point it
encounter
to them.
I do encounter him from time to time when we still play touch rugby, and not recently, but he does make an appearance there. Okay, this is, I think, this is a cracker question by Rosh, like someone known to me as well, Roshan. Do you still play Sahayata Danny role to Malaka Silva? He has framed it well, I must say.
So that's another funny one I saw on Shaq's Facebook post, and I really want to answer this. I have, like I told you, my life is open book. Anyone can read it. So Malaka is someone that I have known since 2007. And yes, we have had our bouts of partying. Yes, I have gone out with him. Yes, I've seen the whole jing bang. But I think there comes a point in everyone's life, Anu, that you got to realize what your priorities are. And I remember there was this very touching letter. My brother is actually a police officer in Melbourne. He's a very senior police officer now. He's been in the force for about 15 years. And when I was incarcerated, when I was in remand for allegedly assaulting an army major, when I was in Velikada, I remember my brother wrote this astounding letter from Melbourne, and he actually published it in the Island newspaper. I was so annoyed about it. You have no idea. I wanted to basically, try to teleport myself to Australia to wring his neck. But then, I read that letter 3 years later in 2015. And there was this part in that he told me, he said, yes, you have made mistakes. Yes, you have hung out with the wrong crowd. But the rest of how you want to chart your course or your future is up to you. Your ancestors are not going to play a part in it. It's all what you're going to do. And that letter actually helped me. So it came to a point in my life where I decided what my priorities are going to be. And I actually, my first election to the urban council was when I decided that I have to either choose whether I'm going to continue partying and becoming Colombo's playboy, or if I'm going to actually make a difference. And I did make that difference. I got married in the process. I have two sons, one who's 3.5, another who's just 1.5. So I think times are changing for me. Times did change, and yes, Malak was my friend, and I still do talk to him. Whenever it can be once a month or once in 2 weeks. When he does call me, or when I do call him, I do speak to him. But that ends there. It ends on the phone. It starts on the phone and it ends on the phone. It doesn't progress to any more than that, and he knows that. There are multiple times where he has invited me for certain things, and I've made it clear to him that my life is now different. And while I wish him all the best, there are certain things that I can do and I can't do, especially with optics. Optics is very important when you're a politician, and I just can't be being the same old Rehan. I gotta be new. I gotta transform, and I gotta reinvent myself. And I think I've done a fairly okay job of it. and I think I can be better in the future. I always believe in reinventing. I always think that we can always be better than what we were yesterday.